Welcome back, players. Today we're going to be discussing how to make your D&D characters more interesting. And this means more interesting to play in the game, more interactive for your fellow players to play with, and more interesting for your dungeon master to write for. But before I continue, I have to remind everyone that this is a series to help you become a better writer and Dungeons & Dragons player. This is not a one-to-one retelling of the rules as written. With that out of the way, let's get into things. Really quickly, I want you all to think of a character that you really enjoy. Now, it's probably more than likely that you can think of a few odd things about this character, something that they do or say or wear that sets them apart, and that helps them stick out in your mind. Some good examples of this are Heath Ledger's Joker, and how he's constantly licking his lips, and Jack Sparrow, and how he always needs to be wearing his hat, or Nathan Drake and his simple but iconic line for all poor situations. And there are countless of characters who have traits such as these, and even the characters that I mentioned have more quirks that really make them special. Your D&D characters should also have these quirks. Adding these quirks will help your character shine as well as round them out, helping them feel more complete as people. Using your backstory and what you know of your campaign setting is of utmost importance here. Those things can help you figure out what some of those quirks can be and make those quirks come up more often throughout the story. I usually like to add simple and easy quirks to my characters that I know are going to come up semi-often throughout the story. It shouldn't be anything too outlandish, except, of course, if your character is going to be outlandish in nature. I also believe that 3 is probably the magic number with these quirks. Any less and your character will feel bland, and any more and your character is going to get a little crazy. But, of course, you should add as many as you feel necessary. Keeping this in mind, let's use Mr. Benedict as an example and assign him some quirks. We know that Mr. Benedict is a monster hunter in a desert wasteland and is searching for his fortune. So, perhaps Mr. Benedict only believes in killing with intent due to his hunting nature. And not only for animals, maybe he also feels that he should only kill people with intent as well. Everything that Mr. Benedict has slain, he has slain for a purpose. And to the best of his abilities, he will use his kills to their fullest extent. This means that his clothes are completely made up of different animal pelts, and his armor and weaponry is made up of looted and crafted tools. Another quirk that we can assign to Mr. Benedict is that he loves fresh drinking water more than anything. Mr. Benedict would even trade his most valuable animal pelts for a canteen of fresh spring water. And we could work that into his backstory by perhaps he and his clan make base in an underground spring, and since he's left that is the one thing that he misses most and reminds him of his home. The final quirk that we can assign Mr. Benedict is perhaps a catchphrase. Mr. Benedict is a very silly character, and he wants to bring a type of repetitive comedy to the party. So perhaps before every killing blow, he utters the simple words, "Survey says." Moving on to flaws, which are, in my opinion, a bit easier to understand than quirks, but also can be a hard thing to justify to new players. To tell someone to make a character have a built-in issue that could potentially be fatal in a game where dying is almost permanent is a hard thing to sell to people. But my counterpoint would be that D&D is never about winning or losing. It's about the story being told. So imagine how much better of a story you and your friends could tell if you have a fear or a handicap of some kind that you need to overcome. Think of Indiana Jones and his fear of snakes, or Daredevil and his blindness, and even David Martinez and his struggles to keep a grip on reality. Now, I think that flaws are a major piece to making a complete character, but you should be sure to make it meaningful to the story that you are telling. If you have a flaw for your character that is just wanting to kill any small innocent animal that passes their way, you're not going to last at the table very long. Make your flaw something for your character to overcome throughout the story and be stronger because of it. And be sure to really talk out this arc with your DM to make sure that it is played out naturally and without overshadowing the other players and their arcs. Now, for Mr. Benedict, I'd say that his flaw is that he simply wants to get rich quick. He is tired of the hard work of monster hunting and is ready to take on any fast lane to success that comes his way. Flaws like these give the DM a great avenue to tell some wild stories and give a range to the type of adventures that your party will go on, pushing Mr. Benedict and his fellow players to their moral limit, all for a bit of gold. Bonds are where we ground your character. Everyone has bonds, oaths that they swear by, people they die for, and lines that they will never cross or never cross again. Bonds are the true key to making a character someone can understand, and a bond can be anything to Batman's vow to never kill, or Thanos' devotion to balance, and even something like John Wick and everyone in that universe's dedication to the rules set by the table. These bonds are nearly unbreakable and should be the cornerstone of your character. And if these bonds do break, it would mean a major shift in how your character functions. Adding these bonds will enhance your character far greater than any quirk or flaw, because a bond is in the forefront of every character's mind during every decision that is made in the game. For Mr. Benedict, his bond is simple and is worn on him at all times. Despite going out on his own, he is still the property of his blood hunting clan. His arm is branded with their sigil, and it burns brightly whenever he activates his magical abilities. And because of this, he must follow any direct order he is given by a superior, no matter what, with no excuses. The bonds that your character makes are what makes your character. They should be what shines brightest through your roleplay, and they should also be how your character is identifiable in a crowd. The final touch to your character is a voice. And I know a voice can be uncomfortable and an extra step for someone who is new to playing D&D. And I am positive that most of us aren't voice actors that can give our characters iconic and impressive vocal performances. But that's okay. Your character's voice can be a slight change in pitch, or a bit of gravel added to it, or a fucking accent, or just your regular voice, and those are all fine. What is truly important for your character is ensuring that the way that they speak and the way that you speak are not the same. And this is extremely difficult, but if your sailor swears like a sailor, or your nobleman talks as if he has a higher authority than all others around him, or your sheepish outlander character talks with a small voice and quick, timid sentences, it will add a lot to your character and help your fellow players understand them without reading a backstory. Doing a voice is also a huge indicator to when you are and when you aren't role-playing, which, trust me, is a huge help to your DM while role-playing conversations. So, do a voice to the best of your abilities and have fun with it. That's the goal of all of this in the end anyway. Thank you for watching another tips and tutorials. I really appreciate the reception these videos have been getting. The next episode for Dungeon Masters is coming soon, so don't worry. And for players, your next video will be coming soon as well. Please consider subscribing and watching the rest of the tips and tutorials videos if you haven't seen them already. I am sure that they can help enhance your games greatly. And please share these videos with your fellow players and DMs that you know. I would like to help as many fellow writers as I possibly can. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, put them in the comments down below. I'd be happy to talk D&D with you.